Alright, hello and welcome gamers to Weekend Rental, the podcast where we talk about gaming, geek culture, and anything else that comes to mind. This is episode 20. We are almost legally old enough to drink as a podcast. Exciting times. If you aren't aware, we've been giving away some stuff on Twitter, thanks to Ultima Gaming. We are going to have some Final Fantasy related stuff coming up, so check that out. Keep an eye on our Twitter feed. I am Ryan. As always, I'm joined by Andy.
Hey, I can see you.
It's weird, right?
Wow.
And Justin.
Hey, everyone.
Hello. So we are filming this live at the Midwest Gaming Classic in our hotel room. That has just ended. The Midwest Gaming Classic, MGC, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a gaming convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We come every year and we love it. So yeah, we're going to try and record this live too, so we'll see how it goes. It's weird being in the same room doing a podcast.
It is.
Yeah.
Actually knowing when you're going to talk. Never mind.
So the Midwest Gaming Classic has just wrapped up. It was another wonderful year. What we're going to do, we normally, if you are unfamiliar with the podcast, we always open with a segment we call Buy, Rent, Burn. Basically, in that segment, we pick 3 video games. We all play them. And then individually, we decide if we would buy, rent, or burn those games. But being this is a special episode, one we're going to try to do every year, because we're always going to be here. We love this show. We are going to replace Buy, Rent, Burn with the Midwest Gaming Classic Arcade Roundup. And we're just going to talk about some of the favorite arcade games that we saw instead. So, let's get into it. What did you guys see that, as far as arcade cabinets, blew you guys away this year? Something new, new experiences?
I guess the biggest thing for me was just the increase in, homebrew arcades
Yep.
that they had. In specific, there was Death Ball, which is kind of a mix-up between Rocket League, iDarb, I think he said Killer Queen. Just kind of a combination of all those. And it's just a lot of fun. I spent quite a bit of time there playing that one.
Yeah.
Until there was lines behind me, then I had to move.
That was an addicting game, though. It's like one of those games like Rocket League or iDarb where it's deceptively simple, but there's a lot of strategy in there.
Yep.
It was really fun.
And then there was a couple other ones too. Can't remember what the one was, but it's like click and change, click and switch or something. Basically, you're controlling like a airship that shoots stuff falling at it, and every time you push the button to shoot, it changes your direction. It's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
A little bit tricky going off screen and on the other side when you're not expecting to, but.
Sure. Kind of. Well, sorry. Tying in with that, I would say like one of the things that I thought was the coolest was somebody was producing a cocktail arcade cabinet that was like Atari's Pong, but they used
Officially licensed even.
Yeah. So it had the logo and it was like magnets and rotors. So like you had these like foam blocks on the table, kind of giving you the visual for Pong in 3D, and it played almost identical. It was slightly different. You could tell it was a little floaty compared to like television Pong, but
I mean, the ball graphics itself.
Yeah.
Felt exactly like the movement of Pong does.
yes.
The huge paddle, it's about this big that you have to like spin like this back and forth. That's tough getting used to compared to like a Atari Pong where you're just turning like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was tough for me at least to get used to. But
You're just
overall-
saying that because it crushed
Well,
you.
yes, but
2 games, decimated Andy. While he was sitting, unknown to you, next to Billy Mitchell. The
yeah,
great Billy Mitchell.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was amazing. Like, had it been more affordable, I'd be like, yes, I need one of these in my home. But
Yeah.
I think it was like $2,900. So for that, I'll just buy a 20-cent copy of Pong for my Atari 2600 and call it good.
I have to imagine the amount of moving parts in something like that
Oh, yeah.
for failure would be astronomical as well. So like
Yeah.
when something like that breaks, who do you call? You know?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Pinball guy's not going to help you out with something like that for sure. For me, it was a lot of games that just old arcade games that I just was never aware of, I guess.
Yeah.
We played a game called Space Duel, I believe it was called. It's a really simple game. It's asteroids, but 2 players, and you are connected to each other. So You have the same thrusting and same, moving around, but
Sorry, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
We're a professional podcast
Yes.
here, people. Professional podcast. We can talk about thrusting without laughing like children. We can do this. Just give us a second.
So he's over there thrusting around.
I lied. We can't do it.
I thought it was gonna be good. No, look at your face.
Maybe for this segment we just replace thrusting with moving. Moving. Okay.
So yeah, he's moving around
Uh-huh.
at a higher speed than normal.
Yes. That's accurate.
And since I'm tethered, you smash into another rock.
I was basically fucking Andy. He was like trying to take the game seriously. And I'm just thrusting the shit out of Andy. All over the place. Just thrusting him against asteroids left and right. It was a mess, let me tell you.
I started this segment as that was my favorite game to play.
I was gonna say, do you regret this choice now?
Yeah, kind of. I still would take that over Gauntlet Legends. I had a rough time with that. I know it's probably a great game back in the day, but it wasn't Legends. It was Dark Legacy. Is that
It
what
was Dark
Okay.
Legacy, but it's kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we played 4-player.
Big tag.
yeah.
And it
It's,
was.
it's constant. Blue Knight is it. Yellow Wizard is it.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know how many times we heard that. Probably 1,000. Pretty damn
Well,
close
at
to that.
least.
And then the final epic battle was just us holding a button down.
Spamming the dragon.
Yeah.
Literally, we had 3 people just finger on the button, 3 minutes, whittled his health down. It was not ideal.
Yeah. But I mean, that's when you have arcade games with unlimited credits, like
Yeah.
they're not made for that. You know, like
Right.
you're not going to have the best experience when you have unlimited credits. But I don't know.
That's true.
Galloping Ghosts comes. It's the world's biggest arcade, pretty much, and they are always known for the most obscure stuff. I've never been there. I really want to go. They're in Chicago. I'd love to go there sometime, but they always bring a few of their choice arcade machines up here, and some of them were pretty awesome to see. Like Tattoo Assassins, never released, I don't believe, but they have one there. A couple other games like
Beavis and Butthead.
yeah, Beavis and Butthead. We played a weird game called Splat, which is also
Yeah.
another sexual innuendo, but
There was less thrusting in that
Yes.
one.
But yeah, that was basically just like food fight, 2-player food fight,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I'd never seen that before.
No.
It was a weird ass game.
yeah, you get hit, your head like detaches, rolls around, you have to go chase after your head, pick it up again.
Yeah. Makes sense. If you can recapture your severed head,
Yeah,
life goes on. That's how games work.
yeah, exactly.
And I think like the thing that really stood out to me this year, and we'll talk about it more probably, but just the Stern Pinball and like all the small pinball companies that were there. I can't think of the names of some of the newer ones, but there's like a growing pinball presence and like a lot of these startup guys making new tables that are just kind of awesome.
Yeah, there was Pinball Factory, which is, and a few others that are more the digital, like pinball effect
Yeah, yeah.
style. I don't enjoy those as much, just because it doesn't feel real, but at the same time, it makes you feel like you're doing better at pinball than normal. Like, I play a real pinball game, and sometimes, like, I just can't get the ball to go where I want, or, like, hit it hard enough to go up, so it just goes halfway up and just kind of does, like, lame. But those digital ones, you never have that problem. Like, you hit the bumper, it goes full speed wherever you hit it. So that's cool. It's just not quite for me. But yeah, Stern brought a ton of them. Jersey Jack brought a bunch of theirs.
Yeah, Jersey Jack was the one I was thinking of.
American is I think a smaller one that's starting out. Kind of they brought some too. So
Yep,
yeah, new pinball machines are crazy.
they are. It's awesome to see that continue to live on. And then I think one of the other standout things was our buddies at Guys, Games, and Beer. They basically took the guts of a Vectrex and put it into an upright arcade cabinet using a larger monitor that they'd gotten out of another Vector-based machine and built an upright arcade cabinet Vectrex model And then on top of that, they put a rolling overlay. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Vectrex system, it's a vector-based video game console. So basically the screen's built into it, and then it's just one color, white. And basically to add more depth to the games, they were sold with little overlays that you stuck to your screen. They added colors, effects for certain games. And what these guys did was they just made like a rolling spool. So basically they had it built with a multi-cart, and then you picked a game and you could just roll to the overlay for that game. It was just kind of incredible to see. I got to play with it for 5-10 minutes, and it was really neat.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want a Vectrex after seeing a lot of these games.
Yeah.
Just like, there is something about that. Like, it is still super space age to see those Vectrex. Like, super bright, like white lines. Like, the best you can't get better graphics than that.
No, they hold up incredibly well to this day. For something of that era, like they're still very enjoyable. Like I played the crap out of whatever Star Trek game I think it was that I was playing.
Yeah.
So really awesome. Awesome to see people taking on projects like that and making really cool stuff. And I agree. I spent all weekend trying to get a Vectrex to take home, but nobody was selling one. So
No.
maybe next year.
Yeah. There's always next year.
All right, so on to the meat of the podcast. Let's talk about the Midwest Gaming Classic 2018. New convention center this year. We all came down. This is our 4th trip, I think, for everyone. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the new show?
I think it has some pluses and minuses. Overall, I think it's a better use of the space compared to how it was fit in last. I mean, they kind of grew something that didn't work in a small hotel like they did before, but yeah, the amount of space is really nice. You can actually walk around. That's the big difference.
Just the difference in the vendor hall and the arcade room, being able to like actually move around and use the table, like get to the tables, use the arcade cabinets, and not just armpits and elbows everywhere was a huge improvement.
Right. Yep.
We saved the armpits and elbows for the hotel room.
Yeah, I agree. I think having the extra room is really nice. I think the biggest issue for it is it's its first year in this
Right.
venue, so it seemed really unorganized and just kind of laid out. Just kind of felt like it was everywhere, not really organized at least in the arcade in the like, history museum,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite spots. Is the history museum.
Yeah.
Just kind of wasn't what it used to be, but
It's
it'll be
not-
better.
Yeah, it's not separated like it was
Yeah.
before. It's not an experience. It's just like a corner of a room now.
It's just there, and
Yeah.
nothing was on either the first night. So, like for the VIG, like everything is just kind of there. You don't get to experience it, which I've seen it the prior years, so it wasn't, I suppose, that big a thing. But it's kind of what we paid for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of disappointed by that. But overall, I think it's an amazing change. I think it'll be even better every year from now on out. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it gives them room to grow. I mean, like you said, it looked like on VAG night, whether it was the new location or just the logistics of coordinating the bigger space, it did not seem as set up as it normally was, which was a bummer. But like you said, we've been there so many times, we know what's going to be there. But I think, it was a necessary change. You lose some of the atmosphere that made the Sheridan location so cool, but then just having like a ton of space in the vendor hall, way more arcade games, at least pinball for sure this year.
Yeah.
And I liked that they kept the second rooms. I think that was really cool. I mean, I'd love to see it all on one floor. Whether or not that'll happen, I don't know. And it's fine the way it was this year. That's how it's been every year before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I don't know, it's still a great show. It's still my favorite event of the year. So.
I think the same floor would be kind of tough just with the layout of the convention center here anyways. You have to wrap around the corner,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where this way at least it's all on that same side of the
Yeah. You kind of go up
convention
and
center
down. Yeah.
instead of around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true.
I do agree though. I think it would be better if it was on the same floor, but
Yeah.
I think it has to be done this way.
Yeah.
I think the biggest complaint from vendors and myself, because we both experienced it, was the ATMs ran out of money.
Yes. Which we've seen happen at Portland Retro Gaming Expo too. Like
Yeah.
you had to leave the expo area and go down the street to a bank or a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's not something I'm familiar with, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
It's like they underestimate how many dollars are spent at these conventions.
Too much dollars is the right answer.
Yes.
I suppose we never really thought about it at the other place because you have Walmart just down the street and all the other restaurants in that mall.
Yeah, there's a bank.
The
Yeah.
bank,
Yeah.
just down the street, so it probably didn't hit nearly as bad. I'm sure they had a lot more traffic this
Yeah.
year here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Overall, the vendor. What do you guys think about the vendor hall this year?
I mean, it was good. I mean, I think the one notable thing is that I've never seen this much TurboGrafx 16 stuff in my entire life.
Yes.
We're talking cardboard cases and manuals and hue cards. I mean, I've never been to an expo, especially Midwest Gaming Classic or any other, but I mean, every booth had, 20 to 30 games. I mean, it was unreal. It was just, I don't know where all of a sudden this came from. And TurboGrafx has not gotten cheaper, so I mean, we didn't end up
No.
picking a lot of it up, but it was just unbelievable that all these vendors had this.
It's really strange because here, All Turbo, you go to any game store, you ask them, hey, do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
any Turbo Graphics? No way.
Yeah,
we
you're
we haven't
lucky.
seen Turbo in years.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky at most game stores if they even know what it is, the kid behind the counter.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just, we were swimming in it this year. Unfortunately, I don't make, $500,000 a year, so I'm not a hardcore TurboGrafx collector, but it was very cool to see. I liked that.
Yeah.
And again, the layout and the extra space was great. A couple new vendors this year. There was like the loot box guys. That was interesting. There was more. It felt like there was a little bit more like the arts and craft stuff, and then the usual mix of like podcast here. State Farm. State Farm was a
Yeah.
big welcome addition. Got to take care of all my State Farm needs and pick up my retro games. So fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of the usual suspects, though,
Yeah.
overall, for vendors. But yeah.
I think to add on to that, it was kind of nice that they actually had food vendors
Yes.
Yeah.
in there,
Yes.
just having that there as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, why waste time going out to eat when you can just walk around the vendor hall with a slice of pizza in your hand?
Yeah. That was a welcome improvement for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I complained about the music being in the vendor hall before, but now with the new layout and like the distance between the stage and the vendors, it felt like it was a pretty good fit.
Yeah.
Acoustically not great, but it was the tent, so
No.
I mean, I guess it's fine.
I mean, if you're standing like up in front of them, actually, it's not as bad as
Yeah.
being off on the side, but
Yeah.
it's definitely not the best it could be.
Right.
And you have to imagine with the weather outside today, pretty much snowing, wet, sleet, for all weekend long, that tent that it used to be
Oh,
in
yeah.
would have been a nightmare for
Absolutely.
these vendors. So I'm sure they appreciate being under an actual roof.
Yeah.
They probably would have left yesterday.
Yeah. Well, plus we got like 100% more DeLorean this year, which that was great.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe next year we can get 200%. It'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. And you said the guy drove it here for
Yeah,
8 hours.
Hey, he said he drove it
It's
here,
nuts.
which is kind of crazy because having to drive back in this shit.
Yes.
Just go 88, you're fine.
Right.
I think one of the highlights too for all of us this year was we got to walk in the footsteps, mere inches away from someone I think we can all identify as like one of our heroes, and that is of course David Crane,
Mhm.
the amazing David Crane.
Yep.
I could have reached out and almost touched him. I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite close.
The
enough.
amazing David Crane.
Yes.
Yes.
It would have been the most amazing touch you'd ever had in your life.
Would have been. I probably would have been arrested because.
It would have been worth it.
I will say one of the weirdest things. So, the day of, pretty much, that we got here, the news came out that Billy Mitchell was kicked off
Yes.
of Twin Galaxies.
Yeah.
Multiple times, all weekend long, I saw Billy Mitchell standing side by side with Walter Day of
Yeah.
Twin Galaxies, doing different things, running their own booth, being on a podcast together. That's got to be a really awkward relationship right now, I would think, right?
Maybe they're really just causing like YouTube drama so that they can get more recognition to get out to more cons.
They're pitching for like a reality TV show, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, plus, high score or not, Billy still has to sling that hot sauce. So.
It was full force, yeah.
Yep. So what was your favorite new addition? Anything like really stand out this year?
I mean, it's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Overall. And it's just not a whole lot of new stuff.
See, to me, I feel like there was a lot of new stuff in the way of like, kind of what I was getting at was like the arcade area. There were a lot of startup arcade guys there, and then Stern brought a shit ton of like brand new pinball tables this year.
Yeah.
The new Iron Maiden table was set up, like plenty of them. There must have been a dozen. You know, you had the Ghostbusters table back. I mean, it was just incredible. And there was the new startup companies with the pinball. We had, what was the one you liked so much?
The
Ball.
arcade?
Yeah.
Death Ball?
Death Ball.
Death Ball, yeah.
Which was like Rocket League meets iDarb. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
They're usually they had like one or two indie games
Yeah.
there, like in like the hallway kind of. But this year they had a whole room of it, so like that's cool too. You know, a
Yeah.
lot more indie stuff.
Yeah, the indie presence was a lot stronger this year, which I
Yeah.
think is really neat to see. And the homebrew NES and like
homebrew
Nintendo age was way more room. I mean, they had what 10 times the room they normally had. It was
Oh yeah, they usually had a hotel room
Yeah.
in the old ones, like no bigger than
Converted.
this. You know, it just yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool. And Guys, Games, and Beer, we always like their room because it's kind of an extension of really the history museum as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
And they had way more space, so it was awesome going in there and actually getting to like play some of the games, not have to step over people. And they were nice enough to invite us down to their after hours. After party, we got to play Werewolf for the first time, all of us. I'm real bad at that, but it was fun. It's a real
It was
fun
a good
game.
time.
Yeah.
Good
I'd
time.
never played it before. I had kind of heard when they were playing it before, but never actually seen it.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting game. A lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, like, the consensus is kind of just that it's the same show we all love, and now there's just, like, more room to enjoy it all, and more room for this thing to grow and become even bigger than what it already is.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it was awesome. I mean, I'd love to come one year where there isn't a blizzard, but, you know, all things considered, it was a good time.
I mean, for the most part, the drive down was pretty decent.
Yeah.
It rained a little bit, but normally that's when we get the blizzards. So
Yep.
Yeah,
so
that's
the
true.
drive down, not during the event. So
Yeah.
next time, hopefully we don't have anything.
Yeah. And we got our names in the bag, so I mean, that was kind of a big deal.
Not really.
That hurts. So outside of MGC, what else is happening? You guys been playing anything new or any movies or what's going on in the world? I know I should probably start off with a long overdue piece that Justin and I need to talk about. Justin and I have kind of not really spoken after we played A Way Out together. And without giving away spoilers, let's just leave it at he betrayed me horribly after hours of helping him out.
It had to happen.
It didn't.
It
Somebody
did.
has to die, right?
Somebody, I assume somebody has to. I don't know the other ending.
I've never had a video game. So for those of you who aren't familiar, A Way Out is the guy who made Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, one of my favorite games of the recent years, made this game. It's the second game. So basically you play two characters who work together to break out of prison and then try to exact revenge on the man who put them there. And it's not a long game. It's very cinematic. And the weird thing is it's like co-op. So you have to play with two people. And then both characters are always on screen. So even though you're playing at home, you've still got two displays up. Your TV is always split. And it works really well in spots. I would say it was rough in a lot of spots.
Yeah, there was quite a few spots actually that it was pretty rough to play in. Just the transitioning. I don't know if we're gonna wreck it for everybody, but
Go for it.
um,
Spoilers.
there's a couple driving scenes
Mm.
that are awful. That game. Sorry for wrecking it, Andy. the driving is terrible in that game. That alone.
Yeah. Had they just removed that or made it like more auto drive and
And you
like I
can't
pop
skip
out and
or
shoot.
something?
No.
Really?
And I mean the shooting, it's a story game. It's
Yeah.
not a first-person shooter. And there's a spot where you do go into like a shooting scene,
Yeah.
and it doesn't respond the best.
No.
I mean, it is better than I suppose what it could have been, but from what we're used to from first-person shooters on this gen, or even third-person shooters, like just shooting in general, it doesn't feel like it plays.
Yeah.
Like that part, it's like I could have done without that as well, but it plays into the story well. So I see why it's there.
It's a great experience overall, but yeah, like as you mentioned, like it's meant to be a cinematic kind of interactive movie experience. And then like when you have these poorly implemented and designed like gameplay elements that force you to fail and repeat, not because it's really your fault, it's just because it's a horrendous train wreck to control, it kind of pulls you out of it a little bit. I mean, it wasn't, control or shattering, frustrating, but
No.
it was close.
That's disappointing to hear, especially after I love Brothers quite a bit. That had some buggy problems as well, but not just like it didn't fit the game, I guess.
Right.
Like you're saying with Way Out.
I do highly recommend playing it. Anybody that enjoyed Brothers or even remotely wants to try this, definitely play it. It's a
Yeah.
good story.
Okay.
It's worth the play.
Just be prepared to hate the person that you played it with for a while. So choose who you play with wisely.
There's got to be a speed run out there already of one guy playing both things, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
If not, we should do that.
Probably with dance pads or something. No, but
Right. Yeah, I assume the other ending is just the other person dying.
I would guess.
I don't know for sure.
Spoilers.
Yeah, we already announced it, so.
You been doing anything new, Andy?
Been trying to find time for games. I mean, this kind of along with Way Out, way back. It's almost a month ago that Sea of Thieves came out,
Oh.
and I know I was really hyped about that, and I continued to be hyped about that game and kept giving it chances over and over and over, and I just could not find any enjoyment in that game.
You did buy it then?
I got it on Game
Game
Pass.
Pass, okay.
Yeah.
So I tried it on there, and that game is empty. Doesn't tell you what to do at all. And the missions take you like an hour, and how many different fail points that you could just lose and just fail
Oh,
miserably.
gosh.
And it's just like, and then if you finish it after an hour, you get, oh, here's 100 coins, and okay, what do I spend this coins for? From what I could tell, it's just cosmetic things, so I could get a nicer looking bucket for 1,300 coins. So like I have to spend 10 plus hours to get one bucket. Like, not my type of game at all. And I probably gave that game more chances to redeem itself because it felt like there was something else there that just
Sure.
isn't. And yeah, highly disappointed in that
I wonder
game.
how different with a group that'd be. Like,
It would be
might-
better, yeah.
might be a little better. We were gonna play it. Like I had pretty high hopes for it too, and then I don't really buy any games. I game share, so one of us takes turns buying. But anyway, so the one guy, he was gonna do Game Pass, and so went to do that, and only one person can use Game Pass for Sea of Thieves.
Oh, okay.
So I looked at it and I probably will try it at some point, but then I heard so many negative things about it. I'm probably gonna wait until some of the later content comes out and maybe.
I feel like it was kind of coincidental with the delays on that and then the announcement of Game Pass. Like, I feel like they knew that it wasn't coming together, but they're like, let's tease it like this is going to be epic so that we can get people to get into Game Pass. Because when people, like,
Yeah,
turn on their Xboxes again and sign up for Game Pass just for this game? I mean,
for that one,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to until Andy filled me in, like, on how horrendous it was, like, the first week it came out.
Yeah.
I
And
still
this
think-
coming from a guy who loved No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
so.
So you'll forgive janky gameplay.
Yeah, no kidding.
I do feel like for next week, State of Decay 2 coming out. Like
That should be
that
should be last.
Is that on Game Pass?
Yeah,
Yeah,
on Game
okay.
Pass. So that might be worth at least checking it out.
Or it's the next one that's going to be massively disappointing.
Yeah, it could be disappointing. I don't know.
It's true.
There's been a lot of hype about it for, well, not as much as I expected, I guess, but in my mind, there's been a lot of hype.
Yeah.
I think if it was coming out on a different console, there'd be more hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Xbox is not doing so hot, it doesn't help.
Yeah. No, I've been trying to find time for other games. I mean, Kuni's out, Far Cry 5,
Mm-hmm.
just these huge games. Like God of War sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
I mean, I haven't seen anything about it other than just pretty much massive praise for that game. So I kind of want to play that now too. Even though I've never been a huge fan of God of War in the past, this one looks a lot more like story driven, kind of like
Yeah.
kind of how first party Sony games have tended to go lately. so I'm kind of
Yeah, I
interested in
agree.
seeing that.
Like, I mean, I've played bits and pieces of minus the PSP, almost all of the God of War games, but this one just looks like such a nice experience that I kind of need to check it out. To me, it's not like I'm not going to buy that at 60, but when it gets down to like 40 or 30 on a sale, I'll grab that. You know, everybody that I've heard talk about it just says it's amazing. And that doesn't officially drop yet, right? That's like 420?
Friday.
This, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same day as State of Decay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yep.
Nice.
Along with Nintendo Labo.
Wow.
You guys are picking that up, right?
Yeah, I was going to hit the cardboard dumpster and then throw my Wiimotes into it.
I laugh, but I'll probably end up getting it at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna go on day one, but I will pick it up with my kids and build it one weekend as an experiment.
Yeah.
They'll have fun with it.
Yeah. And that's how I'm gonna learn piano. I'm gonna be,
That's finally gonna do it for you?
yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
finally become a musician. The inspiration hit me with this little cardboard piano.
Nice. Yeah, we picked up a new Kirby game. Was it Star Allies? Is that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So my kids and I have been playing a lot of that. I've let them play some on their own too. In fact, my son was playing today. When I FaceTimed my wife, he didn't want to take any time to talk to Dad at MJC. But that's okay. He takes after me. So they've been loving that. That is very much if you're familiar with like the Kirby formula, none of those games have been super challenging, of course. I would say this one is almost like Dreamland easy. If you played the original on the Game Boy, I mean, it is just mostly a cakewalk, but it's a pretty cakewalk. And then like my kids, it's like the perfect difficulty. There's new characters to take. Everything's like group action, right? There's like 4 characters on screen all the time. I don't know that it was a game for me, but it's been a good game for us to all play together.
Well, and a lot of times with Nintendo games now, the challenge is more in the secrets and the secret areas.
Yeah, the extras.
Yeah, in Kirby, which I also have now, it's what I've noticed is like you need to have the right combination of powers between 2 people to get to certain parts of secret areas. So there's definitely that part, kind of almost like an exploration.
Yeah.
Go back, get those powers, come back, open up that area, get a puzzle piece. Pretty much what it is. But yeah, it seems like it's pretty fun, and I mean it's the first games with Rick the Hamster since.
Every game needs more hamster. Let's be honest these days. Let's make 2018 the year of the hamster, please, all you devs out there. Let's just add hamsters in all these games.
Better than Luigi.
You know what's funny too is like I will say after playing that game a little bit is like everyone was just shitting on them meaning Nintendo, for it's only 30 frames per second. And like I've been playing that game and I'm like, would 60 really make this that much better? I mean, it's Kirby's not fast action enough. I mean, everything looks smooth as is, so I don't know. People get too upset. I know, people get so upset about like 1080p or 4K and 60 frames. It's dumb. It's a fun game. Just enjoy it for what it is. It doesn't have to be the best, like, highest running thing out there.
And it doesn't have to be just for you either. That's the other thing, like
Yes.
Kirby has, I think, always been that. Fits everyone mold.
Yeah.
So.
It's very true.
Yeah. I don't know. Other than that, I haven't had anything going on too much. Just getting ready for MGC. That was the big thing.
That was the big thing. And as a podcast, we've been pretty busy, doing some streaming lately, and then we've been, Andy and I have been taking up tables at Fargo area expos, which is, it's kind of interesting. It's the first year this has really been taking off in our area, so it's been kind of fun to get out there and as a group meet these other collectors and stuff. So that's been fun.
Yeah, finding people that have like-minded interests. Like a lot of us probably feel at one point that if you're a retro game collector, you're kind of out there alone. You don't think anybody else is doing it, but chances are there's probably somebody in the same neighborhood as you.
Turns out a whole lot, as we found out.
Yes.
So. it's been an eye-opening experience. It's been really cool meeting a lot of awesome people. So
Yeah.
we're gonna try and keep that up and be more active in those communities. So.
Yeah.
And nobody has seen Ready Player One yet, right?
No,
I want to see that.
I want to.
Yeah, I want to. I probably won't see it until it's out of the theater because I don't really want to pay for the theater.
You don't want to pay $18 for popcorn and have some
No, I can't eat popcorn.
whiny kid on his phone. You can't eat popcorn?
No,
What?
Let's explore that. We gotta dig deeper
Why can't you
here.
eat popcorn?
it's just not good.
Oh, you don't like it?
No, I get sick from it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
didn't know you were allergic to popcorn. That's fact.
Wow.
We're learning more about Justin over here.
I won't move for quite a while because I'll have stabbing pains.
From popcorn. Wow.
So if we ever need to like take you out, we'll just slip some popcorn in
Yeah.
you're eating.
Yeah, try it, I suppose.
Can we talk about that? Like what we've been eating?
Oh my
the,
God!
The
Yes.
past 2 days here.
Please.
You know, coming to a new city, downtown Milwaukee, you'd think all these different options and crazy places to explore.
Yeah.
We ate at the same place 3 times in a row.
Yeah. And we've done this in the past. Typically, at MGC, we only eat at Red Robin every day we're down here because we don't have Red Robin in our area, but we found a new love, and that is
Doc's Smokehouse. And yeah,
we love Doc's smoked meats.
yes. The amount of pork that we've eaten collectively in the past 72 hours,
Yeah.
it's disgusting. But
It's so good though. In fact,
So
we
good.
just got back from eating a whole shitload of pork.
it's
took
right
a
here.
took a 15-minute power rest to muster this podcast out, but it was so worth it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all pork in my life now.
Yes.
Going back home.
I think if we hurry, we could probably make it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
Well, we found out they sell it by the pound, so let's get a few pounds of pulled
Let's
pork.
go.
Freeze it when you
Yeah.
get home. Just
I probably won't make it home.
Yeah. Justin in the back with a big old soup ladle, shoveling this shit in. Yeah, by far the best barbecue I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
So we got the meat coma last night, which was like all their meats on a huge platter. So we had sausage, we got ribs, pulled pork, brisket.
Yep.
We had turkey today. All of it is like the best version of that thing that I've ever had. It's so good.
Yep.
I'm not gonna be able to go back to regular barbecue now. Doc's has ruined me.
Pretty much. But next year, right?
Next year.
I'm gonna be dreaming of Doc's.
Just
Another
gonna.
thing to look forward to.
What if we
Right.
get back and they're out of business?
Oh,
No,
God.
it's not gonna happen.
I'll cry.
I will float them.
I will curl up in a fetal position in the hotel and miss Saturday at MGC.
Go fund me.
Yeah, so Doc's, if you're looking for sponsorship, you know, we might do that. Throw some pulled pork our way. We'll keep plugging you on the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, this week, instead of Failbag, we are too preoccupied with the awesome stuff that we ended up buying at MGC, so we thought we'd show it off a little bit, at least the really cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start. Sure, we'll just kind of run through these.
Sure.
Friend of the podcast, Musty Hobbit, Second Breakfast on YouTube, ended up messaging me on Twitter about setting up a possible trade. I said, hey, you're going to be in MGC, let's make it happen there, get a better deal. So he ended up trading me Q*bert for NES, Super Mario Galaxy for Wii, and Grand Theft Auto 5 for a bunch of N64 games, a couple other stuff that he was looking for. So
Nice.
cool to meet up with somebody that you talk to, you know, on the internet, watch their videos, and that's kind of one of the best parts of MGC, right? Is seeing
Yeah.
people that you talk to online, but here we are, all here, you know.
Yeah, we haven't really touched on that in this episode yet, but that is, like, I think to me the number one reason to come to MGC is just like hang out with your friends and meet people that you don't get to see outside of this. So it's awesome.
Yep.
So I guess I can take a turn. And I would like to point out that while we're not doing the fail bag, we certainly did fail our wallets on this trip. So,
Yeah.
wah, wah, wah. I came in here wanting one game more than any other, and I've asked people about it like every year I've come, and I just haven't been able to find it at the right price. But this year I just said I was going to buy it no matter what, and I bought Turtles in Time. I've been after this one for quite a while. This is a great game. You know, I picked it up off of Bad Graphics Gamers. We actually ran into them night before the show, or at least the vendor hall opened, and they said they had a copy, so I went by and picked it up.
Where were we going?
Oh, you know, where were we going? Doc's Smokehouse, downtown Milwaukee, for all your smoked meat needs.
Thanks for sponsoring us.
Mmm. All right, Andy, your turn.
Let's go with this.
We should point out that while Justin is an avid gamer, He's not a collector, so Justin is sadly going to be left out of this one.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll see him picking up is his Bud Light can from time to time. So that's Justin's pickups.
Which sometimes you look at the amount of money that you spend and like that would that's a lot of beer that could have been spent. Much better maybe sometimes.
And if you're going to spend money on beer, better do it in Wisconsin because it is dirt cheap.
Yes,
This is true.
For some reason, I ended up with a bunch of boxed games from Koei, which are known for like strategy, nerdy games from the early Nintendo days. And I don't know, it's just kind of happened. It was from like 3 different vendors, all ended up with these games. So I got a box of Romance 3 Kingdoms 2. This is a really uncommon NES game if you find that cartridge out there, as is Uncharted Waters, Gemfire for Super Nintendo is also pretty rare, and Aerobiz Supersonic, which I think you manage your own airplane or airport in this game. So
And those are all like your usual like strategy type games. I'm
yes,
guessing.
yep.
See, I think what happened is we hung out at that vendor table at Game Fest, and that guy would not stop talking about Koei Tecmo
He
games.
loved them, yeah.
And now it permeated into your subconscious.
I
Now you're
guess.
buying them all.
I guess these were the only ones that are all day almost that were just too good to pass up though too. So
Sure. Yeah, because nobody's really. It's rare that somebody's actually looking for that unless they're like looking to complete a set.
yeah,
It's
more
a,
than likely.
it's a niche type of
Yeah.
game.
If you were in those games back then, you're into them now. You don't grow into these games.
Yeah.
You're not gonna check these out and say, "Oh, these are fun games." You had to be playing them back then, I think.
Yeah, those are awesome. All box complete too.
Yep. Very cool.
Very cool. So when I come to MGC, I'm always looking for the stuff that I can't get in my local area, and that tends to be the weird systems and the import stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't get to add to my Jaguar collection this year. There was nothing that I needed, but I was able to get some good deals on some import stuff. My buddy Scotch took me up with an action replay for my Saturn, so I could play import games. I bought a lot of Sega Saturn import stuff because it was cheap and nobody else was really looking at it this weekend. But one game I picked up that was factory sealed is The Horde. Now this is a Crystal Dynamics game. It's kind of like a RTS action-esque game, but it's also very notable because it's got CG sequences, and Kirk Cameron is one of the actors. So I just had to pick this up. I'm assuming they've dubbed them over, at least in text, but I'm guessing all the voice acting is still intact. And I've heard it's a pretty fun game, so I had to pick this one up. And it was just really cool, factory sealed, and the artwork is just kind of atrocious on here.
Oh,
So
if they dub the actual Kirk Cameron into a Japanese voice,
it's probably gonna be better.
That is going to be amazing.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm looking forward to trying this one out, and all the other Saturn games, but this one is cool.
Yeah, awesome. Another thing, box games this year were actually kind of reasonable at a few vendors.
Oh, for sure.
They were, hey, whatever the cart costs, you can get a complete in-box copy, maybe $10, $15 more, which is insane on Super Nintendo NES games. But I did end up finding quite a few of them, and probably the highlight of those is a complete in-box copy of Ghost Lion. I love the artwork on the front of that. It's very much like an 80s calendar that I would see in like an auto repair shop or something like that.
That is 80s as hell.
Yes. So,
That sums up the 80s right there.
and you look at the back and it's like, well, it's not as impressive. It looks like an RPG, but nonetheless, I mean, it was $10 above what just the cartridge goes for.
And you never see it loose. I mean, it's not
No,
a game
it's
you
a
find.
pretty uncommon cartridge anyway. So to find it complete like that, you got to pick that up for that price.
For sure. So my next pair of interesting finds. Again, sticking with the imports, I really like the Wonder Swan. If you're not familiar with that, it's a handheld made by Gunpei Yokoi with Bandai. He is the father of the Game Boy. After he left Nintendo, he went on to make that handheld. It never left Japan, but there are some games you can play in English. I doubt that either one of these are those games. But I picked up 2 box games. They were dirt cheap. Only ones I saw for the Wonder Swan all weekend. And they were, I got them both for $10. And I think one is Hunter Cross Hunter, and then I think the other one is a Gundam game. Not totally sure. I doubt that, like I said, I'll be able to play either of them. But the boxes are really cool to get, so they'll make nice display pieces. in my collection. So it's a
Yeah.
very neat little handheld and affordable if you're looking into getting one. Hit eBay, not expensive,
Yeah. Very
worth
cheap.
a look.
Cool. I've been on a kick with American Laser Games. They were probably most well known for, let's see here,
McCree?
I would say Mad Dog McCree for their arcade game. They were FMV and very, very poorly acted sequences of all of these games.
That doesn't sound right at all.
No, it's some of the worst acting you'll ever see. To the point where you think that they're probably over the top and faking it. It's just like a cheesy movie all the way through.
Yeah.
And Mad Dog is probably one of the most straight-laced ones.
Yep.
I have The Last Bounty Hunter, which is very much like Mad Dog, but even kind of crazier. Space Pirates, which is, you have this game.
Yes, that one is
It's-
bonkers.
It's very bad.
Looks like it has a budget of like $5, and they just like crafted
Oh yeah, all
like,
the sets are
space
awful.
outfits out of. Yeah, it's like clearly I'm in the like pipe section of some industrial building that we're saying is like the innards of this spaceship. It's bad.
Yeah, and finally, Crime Patrol,
Yes.
which is probably my favorite series on
so
the
funny.
American Laser Games. Yeah, they are just over the top with their action sequences, and they just.
And I just love how like in Crime Patrol, like you're a rookie cop, so like if you screw up, your I guess managing officer, superior officer, like just corrects you, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
just horribly. It's like, way to go, you fucked up, you stupid asshole. I mean, it's not like with minus the swearing, but it is that like ridiculous.
It
like
is.
they basically
Oh, yeah.
tell you you're a piece of crap to your face.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's just great.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about this. I think I might have to go home and maybe stream a few of these.
Oh, for sure, you
because
gotta do it.
That's what these games are made for nowadays, right?
Oh yeah,
Is
to
that-
sit back and get a laugh. They're great.
Yep. Yep.
We'll have to do a 3DO laser act at night.
Yep.
That could be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So I got a couple more pickups. Andy and I picked up a lot of stuff. This is just the stuff that we thought was worth talking about and was fun. But I don't know, people listening to the podcast probably don't know, but I'm a pretty big music fan and vinyl collector. So when I was going through, I noticed right at the end of the show there was a Ship to Shore table. And Ship to Shore, if you're not familiar, they do records, vinyl, but they've been doing video game music. And I picked up the 7-inch vinyl of NES, what's the game? Adventure of Bayou Billy. So this is the soundtrack to the Adventures of Bayou Billy, which is not a good game, but it is a Konami game, which means the music is all right.
Yeah.
So I just thought this was cool. It's not a game that I particularly love, but the soundtrack is all right, and I'll give it a listen. Kind of neat to get.
Plus 45. That's cool.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I definitely like it. I was hoping they'd have the Rocket Knight. That's another one they put out, but they did not have that one there. So
Oh, okay.
this is very neat. I'm gonna give that a listen.
Okay.
The last thing I guess I'll touch on quick is I'm a big NES collector. That's my main system to collect for, and I've always liked the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, and I've got some of the games. In fact, I've got most of them, but I never had a boxed Aladdin Deck Enhancer, and I ended up picking up the entire set. So the Aladdin Deck Enhancer itself, if you're not familiar, it's basically like this little device that you would plug mini cartridges into. The device would get around the lockout chip, or the, I guess, whatever security chip you needed to like run a game on the NES, and then they would give you these mini cartridges that slid into it, effectively letting them sell a cheaper game. And I picked up the entire collection, all factory sealed, all of the games. So you got Micro Machine, Dizzy, Quattro Sports, Quattro Adventure, Linus Spacehead, and Big Nose Freaks Out. So this is really cool. I'm not going to open any of these. Like I said, I have most of these loose or partially complete, just nothing in that condition. Not expensive. You know, you can get these on eBay. I would guess if you wanted the whole lot and took your time, you could probably get it for like, I don't know, 80 plus shipping. I paid $100 for everything, but it was in mint condition, and you know what? I just wanted it and it was right there, so I had to go do it.
Came out really late too, right?
Yeah, that was one of the problems. It was really late in the life cycle of the NES.
Yeah.
And of course, Nintendo had a problem with this. Why wouldn't they? Unlicensed cartridges were not really well received by Nintendo, so it is what it is. It's kind of an interesting side note in the NES library, I guess. And it's worth noting that I think all of these games did make it onto cartridges, right? These were all already available on the NES.
Yeah.
And then also in Aladdin Deck Enhancer versions. So, it's kind of funny that they would re-release them like this so late in the NES life cycle.
Right.
And that's probably a big reason as to why it failed and why there's still so much new old stock of this. I mean, you can readily get this factory sealed.
Yeah. And like you said, the regular cartridges, those are the third-party like gold ones, right?
Yep. So those are not, licensed cartridges either. So
Right.
either way, those games were not approved by Nintendo, but some of them are fun nonetheless.
This one's a lot more fun to put together to make it happen that way, I think. It's
Yeah.
the smaller cartridges.
For sure.
And finally, my last score that I got did not happen at MGC itself. We did a little bit of game hunting in Madison
Mm-hmm.
just before we got to the show. And we strolled through this game store, and we caught him slipping on a pretty high-dollar game. And this guy right here walked right by
I
it.
did. I did not even look. I was like, nope.
But he ignored most of the Super Nintendo, to be fair.
I did,
So,
but he kicked me this time.
so we got Three Ninjas Kick Back, which is an incredibly rare Super Nintendo game. It's based off a pretty mediocre movie, I would say.
Hey now.
I'm not as big a fan of it, but we got it for $16, and we saw one at the show today. $120 for this cartridge alone. So that in itself is crazy.
Yeah.
To find a store slip up that bad. A lot of times you'll find them, they were $20 off or something like that. But to market $16, like, I don't even know what they were thinking. I mean,
Right.
It has the name right on there, so they know it's not a mix-up in what game it is. But laying right underneath it, to go along with it, was the instruction manual, which a few years ago, there kind of was just a huge influx in kind of the story of this being possibly the rarest Super Nintendo game out there, or Super Nintendo manual out there. It's really hard to track down.
Sure.
That's since died down a little bit. I think more people are like, oh, well, I have that, and they put it up for sale or something like that. But even so, I mean, this thing could probably go for $100 itself. So,
Which is crazy because I'm looking at that now that you're holding it up and it looks like it's all of like 5 pages.
oh yeah,
It's like one of the thinnest manuals I've
there's-
ever seen.
Yeah, it's
It's
some
literally
great,
9 pages. A
it got
10.
got some great screenshots of the actors
my gosh.
from the movie in itself. Maybe that's why it's so
Wow.
expensive. But yeah, to mess up as bad as just the cartridge in itself, and then
Yeah.
recognize that that's the manual itself. It's pretty incredible. That's probably $200 worth of game and manual
Yeah.
for $16. And
Those are the kind of finds that you get that like. That's why you keep looking.
Right.
Those are the things that turn up and it's just amazing.
you don't find that in a game store though.
Yeah, that's true.
Goodwill, thrift stores, used to. I don't know anymore. I haven't had
Right.
that type of luck in a long time. But in a game store, usually they're pretty, well known on the rare games. So this was quite the surprise. But
Yeah, we talked like maybe they got confused and thought it was like the Genesis price, but even then it's still a little low on
yeah,
that.
I mean Genesis is probably $25, $30 too. So
It's crazy.
yeah, that was the find of the trip, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's incredible. Lots of good games along the way, but that is definitely the best deal. And like, I'm sure you were just shaking when you went up to the counter with that. You were like picking out other games to like bury it in with.
Well, and that's the thing. You come to these things, and there's a lot of collectors like us on the road doing the same things as us, coming in, game shopping. So you got to grab that when you see it right away, because the collector that might just be coming to MGC might be the next one in the door and see it too. So
For sure.
yeah, it happens all the time. I'm sure.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? We did a little bit of more game hunting. Did you have fun doing that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. Usually when we come down, we just go right to the show, but it was nice we stopped at a few other places and looked at some thrift stores, and some local game stores. I didn't really come up with a whole lot, but it's always nice to see other places like that.
Yeah.
And I think getting the early start, at least, getting down the road some. Is kinda
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
I don't really collect, but it's interesting to definitely look around and see all the different games that I might have from my childhood still saved, just because I don't collect. I still have everything I've ever bought, pretty much. So.
Yeah.
I will say we were really disappointed in one store that we went to. Talked to the owner. He's very friendly. Talked to us quite a long time.
Yep.
You ended up buying a controller there, or arcade stick.
Reluctantly, but I did because he was nice.
Yeah, he was a very nice guy. But, we asked him, hey, we're going to MDC, we're looking for retro games. He asked us multiple times what type of games we like. Old Nintendo, old Sega, old stuff. He says, oh yeah, I got all that stuff in the back. I just don't have it out on the floor because nobody likes to buy that
Yeah,
stuff.
nobody
likes
wants that stuff. He's got a store full of PS2, Xbox, PS4, and Xbox One. Are you kidding me?
DVDs lining the shelves.
Sun faded.
Yep. No old Nintendo cartridges be found anywhere in the whole store. So that was, he was talking about the Earthbound and all this other, I mean, that's the go-to, everybody says Earthbound, but he says, oh yeah, that's back there, I got the box and everything, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Sell that stuff now.
Right. It's basically just a cock tease. Like,
Yeah.
he was telling us he had storage lockers full of games. But then, like, as excited as we got about that, we realized right away that we weren't going to get any of that stuff because as soon as he went to pricing, he went right to eBay.
Yeah.
So.
Guess we'll go answer that door. And Dad, come get me, please.
Security.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, when I was knocking on the door, we have a three-knock policy. Someone doesn't like the three knocks, you have permission to close out the door. The reason why I made your room search is because you actually been on this night around for 2 days. Whenever housekeeping reports that to security, we just come around and do a wellness check and make sure everything's all right.
Yep.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
It's all good.
Dude, you should have recorded that. So this won't make the full podcast, but in case you're, so this won't make the full podcast. I don't know if it caught it in the background audio, but basically security just came because we had the do not disturb sign on for 2 days on our door. So they were just checking to make sure that we hadn't raped and murdered someone in
Yeah.
here, I guess. I mean, we raped, of course. Each
Most
other.
of the junk food.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a way! Like, we were literally 5 minutes from wrapping up this episode. We should have just let him come in.
But he was already in by then.
Oh, yeah. He did a
Here's a
3-knock
guest.
policy.
We have a new guest here.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, what an end, right?
Yeah.
What kind of a hotel policy is that?
Never.
See how long I'm staying. If I'm staying X amount of nights, I can have the do not disturb on for X amount of days. Can I not?
You would think so, yeah.
Jesus, Hilton, get your shit
Fix
together.
this.
What the fuck? Take us out.
I don't even know.
Just do it.
All right, so you can find us on. We got a website. It's gonna be weekendpodcast.com. On there, it's links to all of our social media: YouTube, Twitter.
Oh, and the newly added About section that Andy put in.
Yeah.
You'll learn more about all the gamers. We get a little bio on each of us and our social media stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, check that out. And again, we have sponsor from
Ultimate Gaming.
So definitely, check out our Twitter. Enter in contests that we have going on.
Our unofficial sponsor, Doc's Steakhouse. Or,
Yeah.
Doc's
We're
Smokehouse.
looking to make this
Smokehouse.
official. So Docs, hit us up. Hit us up at our email, which is what?
It is weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let us know what all your smoked meat
Yeah,
needs.
we take
Yeah.
pulled pork in form of payment.
Yep.
and anybody else, if you want to send comments, questions, pictures,
Please do.
send them. And as always, be kind, rewind.
See ya.
Bananas.
Bananas.
Andy.
Bananas.